What's up, Distribution Bar? We're here on a Tuesday, every Tuesday. I'm one of your hosts, I'm Moreno.
I'm your other host, Jarrett, Florea.
And we are Toadally Croakin. We like to start every episode with, a new joke that we've been working on. And our topic this week was, where is your childhood hero today?
Is your childhood heroes now?
No, yeah.
I kind of just went childhood heroes.
Yeah, that works.
In general, but I think it covers it all. I guess little behind the scenes. This prompt was given by Glenn Stewart, whose episode was not recorded. He's going to be in a future episode, so you're going to see this weird skip in time because we're not going to use our medieval menstruation that Trenton Tebow and Sagan Butler gave us
That's for
until Glenn gets here, which is I think a month away. And so we have a whole time thing happening. It fits in our time travel episode. We have a full through line going on. We have a whole lore happening with this show. But yeah, Glenn gave us where are your childhood heroes now?
Right.
Yeah. So where are your childhood heroes now, Albert?
My only childhood hero was actually Chris Farley.
Okay.
I think some people would obviously say that I'm better off than he is, but I'm also a 33-year-old open micer who still can't ride Mr. Freeze without an adult nearby. So I like to think that he's better off than me. Chris Farley died doing what he loves, mixing fentanyl with his Coke. Chris Farley, and we're like, Chris Fenty. That's my joke.
Man, Albert, I don't even believe in childhood heroes really at this point. At the time, when I'm a kid, I believe in them then. But now that I think back, childhood heroes aren't real because none of my childhood heroes fought my childhood villains. Is yours? Spider-Man never came in and fought Mr. Clean for me. I hated Mr. Clean. Mr. Clean was my not my number one childhood villain, but he was up there. Because I'm sitting here 7 years old trying to watch SpongeBob, and you're trying to sell me bleach. What the fuck do I need bleach for? Get off my TV. I'm trying to watch cartoons. Yeah, Spider-Man never came and beat the shit out of Mr. Freeze, taking him to jail with the Green Goblin and Doc Ock. Bill Nye the Science Guy, if he was really my childhood hero, he would have beat my childhood villains, all my mom's shitty boyfriends. He would use science. He would use science to clear them out. If Bob the Builder was truly the childhood hero I thought he was, he would have fought my biggest childhood villain, housing insecurity. Bob the Builder should have built me a stable home. Can he fix it? Not if it's my parents' marriage. Yeah, I don't believe in childhood heroes. That's my joke. Man, Albert, I will say, I like the idea of this joke. I should have taken more time. I took one day to write this. I wrote it yesterday, and I performed it once, and I kind of like it.
Oh yeah, how did it go yesterday, Big Laugh?
It went all right. There's points. I have points in there that I like to hit, but they don't hit as hard as I'd like them to hit. Yeah,
well, it sounds like you're excited about this joke.
Yeah, it's kind of like the UFOs joke. I've enjoyed doing the UFOs joke from the UFO. Yeah, and so I've been doing that one a lot. And so I think this will be one where I work on it more. How did you feel about your childhood heroes? How do you feel about thinking about back to your childhood heroes? Was it really hard to think of them?
Yeah. I mean, Mexicans don't have superheroes.
Yeah.
What are we going to say, Selena?
Yeah.
You can only say Selena so many times in your life.
You say Selena too many times, she shows up in the mirror. That's the good one.
Como la flor.
All dead Hispanic women just show up in mirrors. That's how it works, right? No, thinking about childhood heroes, I think a lot of my childhood heroes were not real people. That's what when I kept thinking about it, I was like, Woody from Toy Story, Spider-Man, he's still my hero now. Bill Nye's I guess he's a real guy.
You just lose respect for Woody, or what happened there?
I don't know. It's one of those things. Is if he was a real hero, he would have stopped pretending to be a toy and he would have stepped in. he would have been there more. I don't know. I think our childhood heroes should spend more time. I think we should change it. Childhood heroes, what people normally say, should be your childhood idols. the childhood hero should be like the fireman that saved your cat from the tree or a burning building.
You have to really think about it having a kid, huh?
Yeah.
Like, who do you want your kids to have as a childhood hero?
Yeah.
Like who?
I would say me. No.
Gay.
Childhood heroes. I want her to find a passion early.
What's wrong with Shrek?
Shrek would be a good one. No, the dragon from Shrek specifically. She's a strong female character to look up to and idolize. I would say I want her to find a passion early. Like Les Claypool's someone who I look up to now, but he wasn't a childhood hero of mine because I didn't find my passion for bass until later on in life.
You would say a musician.
Yeah. So I think she should find a passion early, whether she does like gymnastics or dance or music or something, and she should find a childhood hero in that aspect because all my like stand-up heroes, I would say I didn't get as a childhood. Actually, I'd say most of your stand-up heroes, if you're a stand-up comedian, some of them probably not great people now.
Also very damaged people.
Yeah, not a good person to have as your hero. And so, well, I would say this next guy or this guest that we have today, most of his childhood heroes are probably dead. Let's give it up for Robb Ross.
Woo-woo.
Thanks for having me. Hey, in front of a live audience. It's here for the audience here. So, Albert, the reason why you growing up, the Mexicans don't have a lot of childhood heroes is because it's the wrestlers. They all cover their face. So you don't know who they are. So I love Nacho Libre. And then as y'all were talking about there, I guess one of my childhood heroes was Bill Cosby, and I don't even need to finish the rest of that joke. You know, so where they are now. But as I thought about the subject, is actually there was a kid who went on to play professional football here I looked up to, and his name was Tony Franklin. And he was a barefoot kicker, and he played at Arlington Heights High School. During just a regular season game, he kicked a 58-yard field goal. And he would kick off and put it between the uprights. And he went on to Texas A&M. And in one game at Texas A&M, right before halftime, he kicked a 64-yard field goal, which the pro record at that time was 63 yards. And then he kicked, at the end of that same game, he kicked a 65-yard field goal. And then he got drafted. He played for the Philadelphia Eagles for years as a barefoot kicker. And then eventually he ended up playing for the Patriots when they were in their first Super Bowl against the Bears. There's a documentary about the Bears team from like 1985, and they just crushed them and all that. Well, that was a childhood hero of mine, and the irony is I think he got sugar diabetes and he lost a foot. Yeah, so that's what happened to my childhood heroes. He's a hero because I could actually kick, so I would barefoot kick, and I could kick a 55-yard field goal, even like as an 8th grader, 9th grader. It was really good, but I went to a high school that his brother played at and 2 other guys could all kick, some of them barefoot, like 55, 60-yard field goals. So it's like, I'm not going to do that. So instead, do comedy.
Robb Ross, everybody. Robb.
Yes, sir.
Bill Cosby, also a hero of mine, but not until later on in life.
I appreciate his later work.
his later work. No, Bill, yeah, that is pretty yikes. Like, I would say an early person that influenced me in comedy, or as far as like got me into comedy, was Louis C.K., another hard one to be like, yeah, my hero.
Yeah, that's
kind of unfortunate.
You'll find this in life that people you admire, and this kind of leads on to another subject along the same lines, but what you find is great people or people who achieve greatness are going to have things that you greatly admire, and then they're going to have things you're going to go, that's gross.
Yeah.
I remember I got to eat dinner with Alan Bean. Do you know who Alan Bean was? He's an artist, but he was the
Chandler Bing's
he
like
was
dad?
the fourth guy to walk on the moon, Apollo 12. He was actually the fourth guy I got to have dinner with him, and he was very interesting, but in some ways was a very disappointing human being in some ways. And as I got older, and then I had a life change when I was 19 and got very involved in church and met anybody who was anybody, like in the charismatic movement in the 80s, 90s, 2000s. And our church had those people go through. And some people did great things, helped a lot of people. I saw a lot of people's lives change. But some of them, are very disappointing, and some of them have disappointing ends. But that's just like anything in life. Like, you could name a politician, and especially if they're president, and there's going to be people that go, I love this, that person was a statesman, and then other people can go, yeah, but they lied about this, they did this, they put us in this war, or they said, you're going to be able to keep your health care, you couldn't. Your health care is going to be $2,500, and it's gone up,
essentially just everyone sucks.
Yeah. It persists that we're complex people, that there's going to be things that we love and hate, which, for example, just in your own family, when you're growing up as a kid, you're told things about certain relatives that you're thinking, oh, that's really cool. And then as you become an adult, you find out not every story is true.
Yeah.
Like Uncle Walter that you were told was was a welder and went to Guam to do missionary work for 5 years. Actually, we didn't see Uncle Walter because he was down in Huntsville making license plates for 5 to 10. But you don't find that out till you become an adult.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with your childhood heroes, is the things in your family. Like I heard a situation recently where people went to a funeral for Grandpa. So the great aunt is there. Mm-hmm. Then the kids start finding out, now as grown adults, start finding out the great aunt isn't a great aunt, she's an aunt.
Oh.
She's not the sister of the grandfather. She's the daughter of the grandfather, but everybody referred to her as a great aunt.
Yeah.
And there's a fight over stuff there because of this great aunt who's now an aunt. And you start finding these weird things in your family. You go up your family tree and you find out you're the sap.
Have you had anything like that with your family? Any family secrets come out after someone dies?
No, just weird to see people act different when like the money comes around with like
Oh, when the money comes around?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I wouldn't say I've had any like family secrets come out. I just learned more about like we talked about it in other episodes, like my grandma being like her family or her dad moving them out of Japan like right before the bombs dropped, because as soon as Pearl Harbor happened, her dad was like, no, this is not a good thing. They moved to Korea, bombs dropped in Japan, and then they moved back. Everyone they knew was dead. But it was like learning stuff like that. But I don't think I've had any like big family secrets.
See, the only thing, you talk about money, because I've never inherited anything.
Yeah.
And the only thing I ever inherited was my grandfather's nose hair clippers and hemorrhoidal applicator. And one of them came in handy.
You got a pretty good trim job on those nose hairs, Rob.
I dye my nose hairs. So.
Dye them skin color.
So, because I'm part Native American Indian, and one thing people don't realize about the Native Americans is that they don't actually, if you're 100% Native American, you grow hair on top of your head and maybe down here, but you don't grow like hair on your chest and all that. So if you ever get a hair transplant, what they used to do is they used to take nubs of hair from like the back of your neck and other parts of your body and actually cut and plant them on your head to grow. That's how they actually used to do hair transplants. And I had knew somebody, it was Native American, 100%. Well, they couldn't get nubs of hair. The only place they could get hair was from his nose.
Oh.
So he did a nose hair transplant, and it did work. The only problem, every time he sneezed, he always went like this.
That's the nice thing. He can slick his hair back anytime.
Yeah.
Need to look good.
Well lubricated.
Oh, and then imagine all the tickling of your nostrils. All that long hair. Yeah. I guess actually, so if you're taking the hair out of your nose, then you have less hair to trap like stuff going in your nose.
Exactly.
So then now you're going to be more susceptible to germs.
You just keep growing hair.
I guess, yeah. You get endless nose hair. As long as you don't go male pattern baldness of the nose.
That's the risk you take.
Yeah. How come male pattern baldness never happens in like the pube region?
I was thinking about this the other day. Is when you have a bald guy versus a dude who shaves his head. Are we just splitting hairs?
My dad was one of the guys that started like early on, like in high school, is when he started shaving his head because he started. What decade would that have been? He was born in 80, so it would have been 98.
Okay. So when I was growing up, there was one bald kid. I'll let you do your story.
Okay.
His name's Ames Fender. He actually is an architect here in town. but he had some kind of disease as a kid where they actually shot him in the head, gave him shots in his head, and made all his hair fall out. Oh. So it was like when I was growing up, you were bald, you had like cancer, you're dying, or you'd had some weird thing like that. Yeah. And then you fast forward to the late 90s and then really into the 2000s, and dudes are like, I don't want to have that Franciscan monk look. Yeah, so that's his whole thing. Like, and they just shave it. And then when it starts coming back gray. I'm just going to keep shaving it and just buffing it up. Yep.
Yeah, as soon as his hairline started receding, he was just like, because he had the really deep, like, going in on both sides. And, he just started shaving it, like, in high school. I only seen him with hair once. He for a period of time, tried to have a mohawk. And it was all right. It was a choice, being a 30-year-old in mohawk. But
so you know what you call 10 rabbits dancing backwards? Mm-mm. A receding hairline. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, I was about to say.
It's supposed to be a comedy podcast here. I thought they was going to do that. You're talking about relatives, the changes. I had an uncle who I absolutely idolized. When you first came up with the subject, that's what I was going to talk about. He taught me how to to water ski. He taught me how to ride a motorcycle. Yeah. And then later on, as I got later on in life, I found out he was a serial philanderer.
Oh, okay.
And I love my aunt. You have to I idolize my aunt. Just a good Christian woman, and she stayed with it in the marriage, and it was disappointing as a kid because you just idolize these people, and then you find out this guy was, a real smoozer, and disappointing because as a kid I didn't know that, and kind of came late in life, and that was one of those secrets, even though. Right at the end of his life, he got cancer and gave his heart to Christ and had a real life change right at the end. Yeah. But it's very sad. You get to be an adult and your childhood hero, is disappointing.
It's like after my great-grandpa died, I found out he was kind of racist. He used to say the N-word sometimes, but that's also because he was my great-grandpa. And so that time, you just could say it all you want.
Well, he was supposed to say that.
Yeah, he was supposed to. He invented it, actually. No, I was going to say that I thought of one example of a family member changing after someone else has died. When my great-grandmother passed away, one of my cousins, like a month later, just like died. And so that was a big change.
What the fuck?
So in 2021, this was the beginning of my year. End of January, my cat died. Beginning of February, my grandma dies. And then March, my cousin dies.
And then in April, your comedy dies.
yeah. Actually, my comedy started a year later. Okay. No. Actually, 3 years later. Never mind. I started playing bass a year later.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, no. That was the one thing I think. Grandma dies, so cousin dies. I don't know if they were related, but it happened.
I mean, some people just love attention,
Yeah.
So let me ask you this.
He was being dramatic that he wasn't in the will. God.
He won, obviously.
How old were you when you attended your first funeral? I'm talking about like of a relative or something like that.
Like recreationally? Or?
Yeah. Well, we just want to put the fun back in the funeral.
The first one I can remember was probably my great-grandpa's in like 4th grade or something. Okay. At least the first one I can remember.
Yeah.
I'm sure I went to one before that. How about you?
It would be like a great aunt or something, maybe like somewhere 10 to 12 years old.
Yeah.
I don't think I remember anything any earlier than like...
I didn't have any relatives. All my relatives lived in like their 90s, and I didn't have anybody die until I was like 18, 19. I had not been... The only time I've been to a funeral is I went to this little church school, and one day they were having a funeral for a very old lady that like had no relatives. Yeah. And they made us go in and sit doing part of the service. Well, you got a bunch of 10-year-old boys sitting in a church, and they're telling them to be quiet. This person we don't know in a box. And it's like, this is why I feel like every time I come to church there, somebody dies. It's usually me because it's so boring. You're talking in Latin. And,
Yeah, no, I'm trying to think of... See, whenever... So I've definitely had, I had cousins. It's so weird when you go to a funeral of someone that you just don't really like.
Yeah.
Like I had, one of my mom's cousins, a cousin that like I never, but someone she grew up with, and I go to the funeral and it's just like, you just feel awkward.
You're single
at the
time. You're
crying.
Looking for a dating opportunity.
Especially when you're a kid, because you're just like, I just want to get out of here.
When my wife's precious grandmother died, I'm with my father-in-law, and we're at the funeral home, and so they have the visiting rooms. Now, they've changed that because they used to do the visiting at home. And I go into, we're there for hours because it's a wake. So I go into some of the other visiting rooms, and my father-in-law looked at me. He goes, "What are you doing?" I said, I'm going and seeing the neighbors and all that. But back in the day, that's actually a fairly new thing, because back 50 years ago, when somebody passed away, they'd put a black wreath on your door, and the casket would show up and actually be at your house in the front living room. And so if they were a member of, like, say, the Knights of Columbus or the Freemasons or the Kiwanis or whatever, then a lot of those organizations, which people were more involved with at that time, would assign somebody, or if you're a fireman or a policeman, that unit, that group would assign somebody to sit with the body for the family so the family could go to sleep, but people would show up all night long. So you would actually have the wake or the visitation at the home, in your home, for 1 or 2 days before the funeral.
If I died, a whole bunch of open micers would be sitting around my casket.
It's crazy how...
Still no response from you. Yes. You just going to sit there again like you normally do?
It's crazy how different everything was back then.
Oh, yeah. I mean, man, Rob, what was it like seeing the first locomotive?
It was when fire was invented, and then finally the locomotive went a lot better when we got the wheel. Yeah, because otherwise it was just a real bumpy ride. And I grew up in a day, and I've tried this with some of the mics here. Is I had a thing called the station wagon, and so the station. And if you were really fancy, you had station. So the station wagon was a car with an additional rear end on it.
Yeah.
And it actually had a seat that folded down and back, so you had kind of a cab area or whatever you call that. You could put like your groceries and stuff.
Yeah. But
that seat folded up, and it folded up in one of two ways. It either faced the back.
Yeah.
Or two seats would fold out, and it'd be like, Albert, we're going that direction, and Albert and I would be. My wife, she said she grew up. Their station wagon did this. Ours went back, so I could watch my mom back up into telephone poles and cars. I could watch everybody flip her off and yell at her on the road, and they'd be pointing at me and shaking their fists. I'm 6 years old, and because we were riding backwards, it's like Mr. Freeze.
Yeah, that's a weird setup for vehicles.
Yeah. It's Mr. Freeze, so...
the most dangerous spot to put your child in, just facing backwards, so if you get rear-ended, they're just crushed.
And also, they didn't have to hear what you were talking about or doing. And then if you're very fancy, Scott remembers this, if you're very fancy, the station wagons had wood.
Oh,
He knows what I'm talking about. They actually, that's when your dad really stepped at the game. You had a wood, and they used real wood on the station wagon to decorate them. So one of the funniest things to do is watch a 1960s like detective show. Like watch Mannix or something like that. And like when they go to chase the bad guy in a car, when they turn left, the car leans to the right because all the suspensions just suck on everything. Because people talk about they want to get I want to go back and I want to get me a muscle car from like 1973.
Yeah.
The sound is great, but when you start driving, the suspension stinks. Your Mazda Miata has better suspension than a muscle car in 1973. So yeah, a lot has changed.
Oh yeah.
Since then, yeah.
Well, I was gonna ask you who is some of your childhood heroes that now are probably your biggest disappointments?
Wow. Any movie star back then, because we didn't know other than the National Enquirer if a movie star was you had these heroes. Wrestlers. So we had at that time wrestling was very regional. So we had Fritz von Erich and the Iron Claw, which they've done a movie about since, Ivan Putski and all that. And so there was a Russian guy, a guy who played a Russian. And my dad one time had his car broken down on the road. And back in the day,
stationary wagon.
People would stop. People would stop and actually help you if you had something on the side of the road. And out pops Fritz von Erich and the Russian. And they helped him change a tire. And my dad was so disappointed that these guys were friends. Because on stage, there's the Russian. It's 1968. We hate the Russians, and we're going to beat them to the moon. Fritz, put them in the Iron Claw, and everything else. And then you find out, Fritz von Erich, I think 4 of his 5 boys killed themselves or died. Yeah, if you ever watched the movie on it, they didn't even go through all of his kids that had died.
Wow.
And so that would be something that you get in real life, and then you find out something's really
Crispin
bad.
Wall would have loved that family. He didn't have to do any of the work.
So if you know comedian Chris Germany locally, he used to wrestle with against the Von Erichs.
Okay,
And so he can tell you some stories. And when the movie came out called The Iron Claw, I talked to him about it. He goes, "Oh, dude,
have you seen that movie?
The Iron Claw?
It's a really good movie. It's pretty sad. I mean,
it's very sad.
Is it on like Netflix or anything?
Yeah, it's. I think it's on Netflix. They leave out one of the brothers that also killed himself.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Because there's 3 in the movie. There's 4.
And then one of the things I did not know, going back to my friend Tony Franklin, actually didn't lose his foot from diabetes, but it just works for a barefoot kicker, you know. And
I knew you were full of it.
But Von Erich, the one that won the championship, Kerry, I knew he had been in a motorcycle accident, and the rumor was he had lost part of his foot. Well, in the movie, he had lost his whole foot. Ooh. That's the scene that freaked me out when they showed it, and I'm like having to go to Chris Germany. Did he actually lose his whole foot? And then continued to wrestle after that. And yeah, with a half nub, like for a foot, lost it in a motorcycle accident. And so, yeah, and that's just one of the childhood heroes that'll let you know. Comics. You know, or people like, for example, a great sportscaster by the name of Howard Cosell, and he did Monday Night Football, and he did all the Ali fights. Yeah. But the man was very bitter at the end, you know, because a lot of times, as you guys know, is to be very good at something like comedy, music, sports casting. You pretty much put your whole life into it, and they don't have families, or they do, their kids are estranged, or you name any industry, CEOs, ministers, there's a lot of people that do this, and then you get down in life, and then they're alone, they're old, they're bitter. That's why you have a kid. I always tell people have a lot of kids, because maybe 1 or 2 will turn out normal, take care of you when you get older, you know. So, yeah, so that was another one, was the Von Erich story, was very disappointed.
Have you had anybody where you were like, man, I like someone that you like or idolize that have disappointed you?
Every ex-girlfriend that he had.
That yeah.
I was actually pretty. I grew up on Dr. Doolittle. What's his name? Eddie Murphy. I loved Eddie Murphy. And like once I got into stand-up comedy, I was really excited to like go down the rabbit hole of like the stand-up side. Yeah. So just the fact that he never came back to comedy kind of sucks.
Okay. Well, he's talked about it.
Yeah, I know.
And the first thing is that he had his 2 Delirious, and the other special, I can't remember what it was called. Yeah. And so he said, and this is typical for comics, that first special was what he had been headlining with for 5 years. Yeah. So then the second special was stuff he had to put together over the next year or 2 because they're paying him so much money. And it's like, it took me 5 or 10. Steve Martin, same thing. Read the book Born Standing Up, and now they have a documentary, 2-part documentary.
Oh, nice.
The first part's his stand-up, the second part's his movie career.
Yeah.
But
what's it called?
It's called Steve Martin himself or something like that. I think it's
I
Netflix.
love Steve Martin.
It's very good. The book Born Standing Up is very good. But he talked about, that routine he did wasn't really him. It wasn't an expression. It was an expression of his act. But people say, who's the real Steve Martin? Well, I mean, when we really think about it, like if you talk about Louis C.K., you kind of know who Louis C.K. is.
Yeah.
He talks about
that is himself.
So many comics now talk a lot about themselves. And like Brian Regan or name them, you're going to know more about them. But back in the day, it was an act. So Steve Martin, he said it was like 15 years. So when he hit his height and he went viral before the internet and he took off and he's playing 5,000, 20,000, 35,000, 28,000. He was opening for bands in California and took off, but just kept working on that act. Well, by 1981, it's not like he just come up with another act.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'll just do movies now, because that was like an act that was 15 years in the making. So for Eddie Murphy, I think part of it was having enough time to actually build an act. I think guys kind of got it down now. I know Kevin Hart talked about how he does 150 headlining dates. He'll shoot his comedy special at 135. Yeah. And he usually tries to do them on 2-year cycles. Louis C.K. was trying to do it every year.
Yeah, well, he was for a while. He just doesn't do it like that anymore.
And so, really, if you're able to headline, work it, you could put together a really good act in 2 years for your headline. But like I said, Kevin Hart has, when they filmed that special, he has done that headlining act 135 times in front of a live audience, at least.
Yeah.
So it makes a big difference. That's probably one of the reasons why Eddie Murphy just stopped.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. Steve Martin just stopped because it's like it took him 15 years. Now he's a movie star. It's like if he started over, it's like you ever see the thing on the Comedians when Jerry Seinfeld drops out. He does a special called One Last Time where he does all his old stuff. And then he goes back to open mics and people start booing him because he's doing what we do.
Yeah.
He's trying new stuff and all that because people have to understand. And this is why Jeff Foxworthy, he has his 12th special on like Fox Nation. He said, I will only do a special if I can show the process.
Okay.
So half of the special is him trying jokes at an open mics. And the second half is him actually the whole package.
That's pretty sick.
Run together. Brian Regan, go ahead.
It's a really smart way to do it, especially once you're older in a comedy, because I guess people do just need to be won over again when you've been in it that long. And it's a smart way to win people back over and appreciate the new stuff.
Yeah.
Back in the day, Judy Carter in her Comedy Bible talks about back in the day, if you had 17 minutes, especially clean, you could do on TV, there were guys like Buddy Hackett. I knew somebody that saw Buddy Hackett in like 1975. Dirty comedian, Vegas comedian. They see the show, they like it. They go back to Vegas 10 years later and say, oh, Buddy Hackett, let's go see him.
Same exact.
The exact same act that he was doing. And that's changed now. You can't do that. You have to come up with fresh stuff all the time.
There's definitely a new standard. There's a like most of my favorite comics are part of the group that has put out a special almost every year. You know, Joe List, Sam Morrell, Mark Norman.
Yeah.
For a while, a lot of them were doing that almost every year for the past like 3 or 4 years.
Yeah. Man, like, imagine having that same standard for magicians, just having to have a new magic, new magic tricks every year.
You know, you think about, I watch a band that had 2 or 3 hit songs when I was growing up called KC and the Sunshine Band. That's the way, I like it. And I've seen KC and Sunshine Band just on commercials or playing like they're opening like the Today Show. We got KC and the Sunshine Band, and guess what they got to do? That's the way I like it. And you see all the passion is totally just drained out of them because they have to sing the same stupid song over. Because if you go see the Rolling Stones, they actually did an album like a year or 2 ago. Okay, 1 or 2 new songs is fine, but I want to hear all the hits. If I've come here, if I went and saw Jeff Foxworthy, I want to hear redneck. I want to hear at least 5 or 10 minutes of redneck jokes, which he does do in his shows. I went and saw Bill Engvall. So Bill Engvall got very famous for "Here's Your Sign" about being stupid. And that, well, here's your sign. Yeah, it's a hilarious routine. So I see him about 5 years later. Take my mom. We saw Bob Newhart. We saw Cosby. I was like, we're going to see these people. You know, usually at Bass Hall, we'll go down there and see them, make a night of it. And Bill Engvall gets out, does none of those jokes. And I was so disappointed because I'd never seen him live before. And none of his stuff is as good as that. So there's some people that will do by request or they will end
like
with Bert
Kreischer Machine.
Does the machine every time because people, and it's okay if he's doing some new stuff and you mix in the old stuff, then that works. So Brian Regan tells a story about when and Brian Regan is a really interesting study and somebody being very good and then getting kind of lucky in comedy. So he had started out at 18, 19. He's working at a comedy store. This is in the early 80s. Comedy clubs did not exist that much previous to the early 80s. Yeah. Like Jay Leno, you know where he made his money doing stand-up comedy? Clean Jay Leno. Strip clubs. He did strip clubs up and down the eastern seaboard. And he talked about, for example, he did this one strip club called the Mine Shaft. And it was free to get into the strip club, but it was totally pitch black. So for $5, you buy drinks too, but for $5, you had to buy a miner's hat that had a flashlight on it because you're in the mining, because it's called like the strip mine. Hit stripper, strip mine. Yeah. And he said, so you'd see all the miners looking at the girls dancing, and they go, okay, for a break, we're going to bring out a comedian, Mr. Leno, if you'll get out here. So, hey, guys, how do you like cars? No one looking at him. All the lights are over, the friends talking, and then every once in a while a light would come up to him, look at him, and then go back. That Steve Martin opened for bands. Linda Ronstadt was his girlfriend for a time, and as was Stormy O. Martin, who was a Christian writer now. But he had to open up for bands. That's what he was doing. And there was so Brian Regan, they started opening comedy clubs in the early 80s. And Brian Regan's working there, and they're like, how often do you want to come? He goes, every night, because they were open every night. He goes, I'll take as much time. So he had 18 months to start doing comedy and do it every night, maybe just open mic, guest spot, feature act, all that. He said, so he's working at the comedy club. Guess who walks in? Rodney Dangerfield.
Ooh.
Height of his career. I saw Dangerfield right after Caddyshack came out. Rolled the audience for an hour. Had the same act. We listened to a cassette of his act on the way over, not realizing it was like it was the same act.
Yeah.
My friend said that was the only thing disappointing. But people turning over just red with laughing, like we couldn't afford tinsel for the Christmas tree. We just waited for Grandpa to sneeze.
Yeah.
Things like that, and get people going. And so Brian Regan said, Rodney Dangerfield comes in and goes, hey, you mind if I do just a couple of minutes? I'm like, yeah, sure. So he gets up there, he has note cards. Well, he was in town, going to be doing a show Friday. This is a Wednesday. But he's doing like 2 shows, a Friday show and a Saturday show at an arena. Because he was that big. He was doing arenas or auditoriums. And he said he came out, just read some jokes. Okay, didn't get much on that. He's marking them. He said the next night he comes back, hey, man, can I do some time on y'all's stage again? And all that. Doesn't call the club, just shows up.
Yeah.
Like, sure, it's Rodney Dangerfield. So he gets on stage, and he said the jokes are just more refined than the previous night. He'd been working on it and everything, and then 3 or 4 of those jokes made it into his act Friday, Saturday night. Because Brian Regan says that's the problem. When you're on the road, like where does Steve Martin, Brian Regan at the height of their career, where do they work out stuff?
Yeah.
Because they're on the road all the time. And he said now the problem is people are videoing. That's why going to like Rogan's Club at the Mothership or going seeing them live.
Yeah, they make you take your phone.
You got to put the phones in the... Somebody could still maybe sneak in. They do take people through a metal detector also for that reason. But that way, the comedy's better.
Yeah,
because
it
people
is,
will
for
just
sure.
say
I've gone to a concert like that. When I went to see Pussifer, A Perfect Circle on Primus, they did the same thing, lock up phones.
Nice. I've never seen that at a metal show.
Yeah, it was
fucking
nice.
nuts.
Well, actually, they didn't lock up phones, but they no phone. Like if you had your phone out, like someone would call you out. They didn't do it until the very they designated like 1 or 2 songs at the end. They're like, okay, if you want to pull your phone out, this is the time you can pull your phone out. And I think it was a lot better not having to watch the concert through someone else's phone in front of you because everyone's just holding their shit up the whole time.
I'm trying to think, what's the Saturday Night Live actor who's also a stand-up comic? His dad died in 9/11.
Oh, Pete Davidson?
Yeah, Pete Davidson.
So what he was doing during the pandemic is he was trying to forbid people from leaving bad reviews.
Oh, okay.
I don't know how you do that, but they had, like, when you bought a ticket, you had to agree you wouldn't leave a bad review to his show.
Oh.
That's kind of weird.
That is weird.
You live in a different headspace, in a silo when you're like that. So that was something that was like, a lot of people look up to him. That was like really disappointing.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, if you're good, you're good. If you're not, people are going to say something about it.
Yeah, people are going to say, it doesn't matter. It's not going to turn me away if I like you.
Especially you paid $80 or $100 or $150 for a show.
Yeah.
It's kind of like what happened with, what's his name, that was early 60s, got arrested a bunch of times, Lenny Bruce. They started arresting him so many times for vulgarity laws. And so he's in court that at the end of his comedy career, he didn't do any comedy. He was reading court transcripts.
Oh, yeah. I've heard that story
If you
before.
watch The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, which if you do stand-up comedy, I highly recommend it.
Okay.
It's basically kind of the Joan Rivers story.
Yeah.
But really, it's really the story of her manager is really true to life to her manager more than Joan Rivers, but it's kind of like Joan Rivers. But there's Lenny Bruce is intertwined in The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. That's on Netflix also.
Okay.
And he, at the end, it's showing him just reading the track. And people are getting up going, I came here for comedy.
Yeah.
You kind of live in your own side. So it's like another thing that's disappointing. Like, just keep doing your comedy.
Yeah.
You know, if you're doing sports or you're a musician, people don't want to hear your politics.
Yeah.
You know, comedy, you can kind of go into that because for some people, that's their lane to do that. But people don't want to, Lenny, no one wants to hear about your court.
Yeah, that's for sure.
You know, really.
Yeah.
I mean, we just
that's something like, if Twitter was a thing at the time, that'd be the thing, like, I'm going to sit here and post, or I'm going to make a YouTube series where I'm sitting here, but not going to make people pay for a comedy show and be like, okay, here's my grocery list, guys.
Yeah,
like,
that's crazy.
Here's the beef I have with fucking Walmart, but I'm not going to add any punchlines to it. I'm just going to tell you fact for fact what happened.
Or you have to turn it into a comedy routine.
Yeah, like if he did the whole thing and he made it, but if he's just reading the transcript, it's like, okay, here's facts.
So the guy that replaced Cam Patterson on Kill Tony is a black guy on there. It's hilarious.
Yeah, Dedrick Flynn.
And by the way, if you travel, don't take drugs with you. Can we learn this lesson? If you travel, I'm not looking at Nick or anything in particularly, but if you travel, don't take drugs with you, okay? He was in a Japanese prison for 25 days.
Yeah.
So you can either gripe about being in a Japanese prison or you can make comedy out of it.
Yeah.
And that's what we do. We talk about funerals and childhood heroes and disappointment and everything else.
Yep.
You make comedy. Everything. When I'm with people, I always ask them, tell me a crazy story of like something that happened here at work.
Yeah.
Or something you know related or something you know happened to somebody at the job. And so this guy, he's cleaning my chimney. I ask this of everybody because you're just trolling for stories and information. And this guy tells me the crazy. So he said, you know, when you're cleaning a chimney, you'll find like footballs or baseballs or basketballs where people have stuck them in. They've gone through a chimney. And I
Or
started
Santa.
yeah. And I was thinking about when I was a kid, I had a Charlie McCarthy doll. And that was a ventriloquist doll called Charlie McCarthy. And my brother pulled the head off of it and threw it, and it went into a neighbor's chimney. And I'm thinking the next winter when they started the thing, open the flue and a flaming head of Charlie McCarthy comes out. So I asked this guy, tell me a crazy story. He goes, okay, you know how in every little town, like Llano or Lampasas, there's always the barbecue place that everybody goes to in town. Well, this little town someplace was like that. Well, eventually the owners died. There's no kids to take it over. And, of course, the pit barbecue, there's a pit on one end of the store. And then, you know, then everything feeds into the kitchen and then to where people eat and all that. So there's the pit there on the end. So eventually the building goes into receivership. The bank forecloses. The bank sells it. And then they come to knock down the chimney and knock down, you know, the facility to build a parking lot or whatever.
Yeah.
Guess what they find in the chimney?
Body.
A dude.
Oh.
There was a dude who had tried to sneak in, and at 6 a.m. he got stuck in the middle of the night because he's going to rob the place. He got stuck in the chimney. And then the next morning, they start cooking those briskets at 6 a.m. because they got to have them ready. So he smoked, and he was the best-smelling cadaver down at the morgue they had ever had.
Oh, my God.
And the moniker on the barbecue places, the secret's in the sauce. And he was just dripping on that barbecue, kind of like if you go to Cooper's and the guy, it's 104 degrees. You go to Cooper's, give me 4 inches of that. Give me the chicken breast there. And my wife doesn't like to eat there because the guy is sweating over. It's already August and he's sweating over this hot. I said, honey, what gives it the flavor?
Yeah.
I can tell you another story of a barbecue place that had a cadaver that was bleeding on that thing for years.
Holy shit.
On there, yeah.
I'm getting hungry just thinking about it.
God damn. I guess luckily they went out of business because they would have had so many lawsuits on their hand if someone found that out before they did.
Well, they were known for cooking their brisket for 12 hours and cooking dudes for 24 hours.
It was to die for. That's oh, my God.
Don't complain about it.
What was he trying to steal, like barbecue sauce or something?
Yeah.
I mean, was he thinking there's going to be money in there?
I hope y'all like extra crispy dudes.
It's right.
If it's like, I guess, the best barbecue place, that's where everyone goes for barbecue, I guess there's money in there.
And then
but
at
it's
the cadaver place, he's like bacon wrapped when he gets there. So it's like,
the person at the morgue opens up his bag and he's like, damn, I get lunch before I do this one.
yeah. They're just cutting through man, I've never had ribs this tender cutting through here and barbecue on the cadaver table.
Oh, my God. That day unlocked the inner urges of a cannibal at
All right,
that
you want to
morgue.
hear another weird story?
Yes.
Like this? Okay, so I'm with a guy.
One more, and then I got a question for you.
Okay, so I'm at an Enterprise rental place. And so the Enterprise will come pick you up and take you back to the rental place and you do the car. That's at least at that time. So I'm with the manager of an Enterprise rental. And I said, tell me a story, crazy story. And I know two that he told me. And he said, first off, you know when they're always trying to upgrade you to buy insurance at the rental place? And if you have your car insurance, check your car insurance. Usually you can do it. Or if you have an American Express card and you rent a car, usually the American Express card, if you use it, will pay for the car rental. Okay. So you check on that. But anyway, the guy says if people come in and rent a car and they ask for max insurance, you're never going to see the car again. And because they're going to do something to it. So he said these two big dudes come in, they rent a car, and they said, we want max insurance. Okay? Because you'll sell it to them if you get a commission as a salesman. And he said, the car's supposed to be back Monday. Car's not back, but that's not unusual. People keep cars for extra days. By Thursday, get called by the cops. Said, hey, we found your car. traced the license plate, and is here at the auditorium, where the auditorium, convention center in town. So they go out there, every window is busted out, and a hole has been cut in the top of the car. So they realize they have rented the car that Friday to the WWE or the WWF. It was a wrestling thing at the convention center. So they get the videotape of the event. And of the event, what happens is it's like a cage match, 2-on-2.
Yeah.
Well, two of the guys run out of the auditorium with the cameras following, with the crowd cheering, and jump into a car. The other two guys have like 3-pound sledgehammers, and they start busting all the windows. And then another guy pulls out a chainsaw, cuts a hole in the top, opens the door. They drag the guys back in. They have the match. They leave the car. So Enterprise is like, hey, dudes. You busted all the windows and cut a hole in the car. And they go, we have max insurance. Yeah, against flood and tornado and hurricane, but not against ball peen hammers and a WW whatever match and a chainsaw cutting out the top. He said they wrote him a check for $8,000. They took care of it. Second story, real quick. He said, because they buy new cars every year to rent, if somebody kills themselves in the car, they sell it immediately. Could be the first time they use the car. They will get, if they blow their brains out, they'll get biohazard stuff to clean it out.
Yeah.
They'll sell the car immediately.
Oh,
Do you realize why they sell the car immediately?
no.
Is because if two people kill themselves in the same Enterprise rent-a-car and somebody in the media because we've lost journalism now, but journalist actually does the job and looks at the VIN and goes, 2 people have died in the same Enterprise rent-a-car. Don't get Enterprise. It's the car people die in and kill themselves. It's somebody at corporate was thinking ahead and going, we don't want 2 people to kill themselves in the same car.
Yeah.
And then that becomes a urban legend.
No, you just got to set, like, that's the suicide car. So you're going to kill yourself. You want to rent a car. This is the car.
Is this a
All the
suicide
rest of the
car?
ones, yeah.
Do you want max insurance? No.
Yeah.
I just want the suicide car.
And I'm not going to pay for it either. Here's my card. It's not going to work. It doesn't matter. Actually, yes, I'll get max insurance because my bank account is useless once I kill myself.
So what question, Jim?
I was going to say, so we're getting towards the end of the episode, and I have 4 weeks until I get married, Robb Ross.
Oh, yes.
And as the longest married comedian that I know, what's some advice that you would have?
Okay, well, first of all, my wife and I, we've been married 38 years.
Okay.
Is this which one's the hand clap? Which one? Yeah, 38 years. To the same woman in a row. Okay, so this isn't a Hollywood thing, because in Hollywood, when you've been married like 8 months, people go, "What's your secret?" Yeah. But here, my wife and I only have had one argument.
Okay.
You want to hear about it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it started in January of 1988, and when it's over, I'll let you know. And so you have to learn how to communicate. You all been together for a while. We met at church. Ours is a very Christ-centered thing. Never called her the B word. Never in a heat of an argument said, I just want a divorce or anything like that. So, because those are like nails in a fence. You can pull the nails out, but the hole is there.
Yeah.
And you have to be forthright. That you draw a line in the sand. I'm not going to commit adultery. I'm not going to screw around with my wife. So I get pretty anal about that. I don't mean anal like how some of these guys over here are, but but it's like I'm very careful about my relationship. Like with female comedians, I'll be very nice. I'll be very professional, but you're not going to see me usually like sit down and have a real close like I would do with you guys or whatever. Same thing in a corporate environment. I'm very careful because we're made to be jealous. If people, one advice in modern times is, Albert, you've got like 12 girlfriends or girls you've dated and everything. Then you get the special one. You got to let the other girls know you're not going to talk that. You got to probably stop talking to all of them, but almost most of them. You aren't going to have friends who are girls. Okay, they should not have guys who are friends. That needs to end, at least for a period of time. I know there's certain situations that might work, but usually you're pretty safe because nothing's like being 2 years into a marriage. Why are you talking to Ronald on the phone?
Yeah.
Yeah, that shouldn't be. My wife has access to all my computers, to my phone. we got to do Find My Phone so she can see where I am all the time. So like Nick knows, I think Nick has my wife's contact information. So if I fall over dead or have a thing, he knows who to contact.
Yeah.
Next to kid, because if I fell over, you guys would go, who do we call?
Yeah.
You know, it's like Ghostbusters yet. You know, it's like, yeah. But ours is very, so we were involved in marriage ministry for about 10 years. So it's a very Christ-centered marriage that we walk. And I had a life, like I mentioned earlier, I had a life change when I was 19. I didn't grow up in church.
Yeah.
And my dad was an alcoholic. He stopped drinking when I was 13 through AA, and I'm thankful for the AA program for him. And he helped thousands of people stop drinking. I was just empty on the inside. I was empty on the inside, accepted Christ. I was 19, got very plugged into church, and my life has changed from that point out. Not that I'm perfect. I'm really not.
Yeah.
I'm just forgiven. And so our marriage has kind of continued along that line. And I would say, you know, you have a kid with her and all that. So thankful, you know, y'all have known each other for 10 years.
Yeah. We're getting married the day before our 10-year anniversary.
Yeah, so that's, you know, and it's not 10 anniversary like you've been 5 years of eating out of 10 cans. It's, you know, and that's the advice is learn how to communicate, learn how to argue. Don't argue in front of the kid if you can help it. Know what is going on money-wise. Like for my wife and I, even though we could both sign on to each other's checking accounts, we each have separate accounts. I can sign on to hers, see what's on hers. She can sign on to mine, see what she could withdraw money. But when you used to have to write checks, I'd write 2 checks or 3 checks to pay utilities. She wrote like 30 checks because we have 4 kids, one of each. Yeah. So I mean, there's just stuff going all the time. And it would drive me nuts if she bounced checks in my account. So it was like the resolution was no bounce checks, no overdraft, no overdraft stuff, and separate checking accounts for us. So I do a couple of things for her. I try to make sure I fill her car up with gas so she doesn't have to do that. Okay. I just don't want her out having some bum. Well, enough of the times we have bums come us by. I don't want my wife to have to deal with that. So I make sure that I fill it up. I will wash it on occasion. Yeah. I have a little bit of money now because I have a job. So when I go to like Albertsons or whatever, I go to a farmer's market every Saturday.
I didn't even know Albert had sons.
Every couple of weeks, I will, because the flower, you can get a dozen roses for $16 at Albertsons. Yeah. I will bring
Albertsons is definitely my go-to place for flowers.
Yeah, unless it's Valentine's.
Yes.
Then they're going to stick it to you then. But so I get them the week before. But I buy her flowers every 2 to 3 weeks. But we could afford that. When we were really tight with money, which is most of our marriage, that didn't happen, but on special occasion and all that. And that, you know, you're going to, you know, and I think having clear communication is, I like X, Y, and Z. Yeah. But also, like, there's things I don't like doing. Because people say, well, I don't want to do that. That's like, right. That's part of a marriage, is doing things I don't like to do. Yeah. And it's okay to vocalize, I do these things I don't like to do, but I do them because I love you. Yeah. Also, last thing is that most men, other than George, most men get most of their value or their self-worth out of their job and vocation or their hobby, you know, like Tommy or whatever your job or whatever. You work hard, you provide, you're making money. Most women get their self-worth of how their home looks, how their marriage is viewed, and how the family is viewed. Yeah. So that's why most times it's like what a woman wants to do in the house, you can have your one room to destroy. Yeah. Like if you go to my office and my podcast studio, you'll see it's not like how the rest of the house looks. And my workout room or something like that. She gets to do whatever. Now we talk. I mean, and my wife has really good taste. Yeah. Okay? If you married a woman that's all in the gothic stuff or whatever, you might, or wants to put, you know, the Virgin Mary in every room and candles, you go, honey, you get one room to do it. And so, but generally speaking, if you remember that, most of the time that helps kind of balance out some things. Like she goes, well, have you fixed this in the house? And have you done the plumbing on that? And have you need to build me a shelf? And understand, this is part of her identity. Yeah. Like somebody's come over to the house, she'll start cleaning up everything. Oh, yeah. Because that's part of her identity. And you're like, what? We live like this. Just accept it. We're just, you know, this is like how the dogs sleep on the couch. And no, not tonight. So-and-so, because that's her identity. But you want sex and to be respected, okay? She wants to know that she wants to know that she's loved. Yeah. And love takes different forms, and you have to understand what love means to her. Yeah. So that's and for more of that, you can do the seminar for $99.95 how to help straighten your marriage and all that. But those are some hints that are really helping a marriage and a relationship.
Yeah.
So.
I appreciate it. Albert, what marriage advice do you have?
His advice is don't get married.
No, I'm not against marriage or nothing.
And also, most millionaires are people who are married. The worst way to not become a millionaire is get married and get divorced. So, yeah. And the stability,
Hey, this
the
is
chances
the
of
first steps to getting gains or getting this bag.
Also, you want to get rid of poverty in society, let people get married.
Yeah.
Because it's the vast majority, it's a very, very small percentage of people that grow up in homes with both mom and dad, husband and wife, they're married, almost are never in poverty. They can be very poor, but they're not at poverty level.
Yeah.
And it's a thing that is a stability for the rest of their life. They have less chance of going to jail. They usually do better in school, get a better education, and they usually want to do better than their parents.
Yeah.
But both parents are there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Well, we're getting to the end of this episode. Albert, I'll let you give me marriage advice some other time. Because right now, we got to give our plugs. Albert, you got anything coming up soon that you want to plug?
I will be at probably any open mic nearby. Anything coming up, you just let me know and I'll go by there. There's actually Shaw's tomorrow, every Wednesday.
Shaw's every Wednesday.
I do not have any shows.
Shaw's off Magnolia every Wednesday, starting at 7:30, ending at 9:30. We got an open mic. Dead Froggy shows. We got August 7th. We are going to be at Hyenas Comedy Club in the Red Room.
Yes,
That's
sir.
a Friday night.
Yes, it's Friday night. And me and Nick are going to be out of town. It's my first time doing out-of-town shows. September 13th, we'll be in Oklahoma, Lawton, Oklahoma, at the Comedy Avenue. And September 25th, we will be doing our first theater show, September 25th, in right outside of McAllen, Texas, at the Lone Star Theater.
Nice.
Yeah, it's
That's
some hometown
awesome.
action for Mr. Nick Cano.
Yeah.
And we just got Dead Froggy shit coming out left and right, so check out Dead Froggy Productions. Mr. Robb Ross, what do you got coming up?
Okay, so you can go to pgdatenight.com. So I just had my PG Date Night show. I did this last week. Linda Stogner, who owns Backdoor Comedy Club, she came over and did. We had a sold-out show
Where at?
at Red Room, my PG Date Night show.
Yeah.
So I'll have one Valentine's. So you go to pgdatenight.com. I'll be at Big Laughs Thursday. So Nick's got some time for me on stage. I'll be at Ranger, Texas on August the 8th at Gulf Burgers. That's going to be an event that's on TV with a local radio station. And you can finally find me on rosscomedy.com. You can go to that site, and on Instagram is I'm Not Bob Ross, and my podcast is called Bear Asteroid, not like bear, but bear like a single asteroid. It's called Bear Asteroid. For my podcast.
Man, Robb Ross.
And
Why would anybody Robb
bearasteroid.com.
Ross? Robb Ross is just for less. You're gonna get not much money from Robb and Ross.
And thanks for having me, guys. You just got robbed, and
I just got
Ross.
robbed. That's
Two hard
Robb
Rs.
Ross. Albert, you want to outro this show? Or actually, never mind. It's
Yeah,
not my turn to
excuse
outro because
me?
you introed it. God, I forgot the format. Guys, this has been today's episode of Toadally Croakin here at Distribution Bar every Tuesday, starting at 6:30 sometimes. And then we have the open mic directly afterwards, punch up open mic, right after. Come to the punch up open mic, sign up. Now we got Wednesdays at Shaw's. I've been Jarrett, Florea, one of your hosts. This has been my other host, Albert Moreno. This has been our guest, Robb Ross. We've been Toadally Croakin. See you next Tuesday. Peace.
That's a Dead Froggy.